Florida landscape, and behind me is a gallery forest, which is essentially dense woods that surround a stream corridor. That forest is there because that stream creates enough moisture in that area to protect it from fire. Florida landscapes are shaped by fire and water. This little stream behind me is where a river begins its journey. And in Florida, that journey takes that water in places where it supports everything from palm trees to manatees. Rain falls in the uplands, and we're in what's called a flatwoods or dry prairie environment today. When the rain falls and it's dry, it seeps into the sandy soils, and some of that water will gradually work its way to the stream. During the wet season, when the landscape's pretty wet, almost a very, very large fraction of that rain runs off directly to the stream. On its way in Florida, it will go through, typically, a headwater wetland system. That feeds into the stream. Then the stream goes into another inline wetland system, and so on, forming a chain of wetlands. So the water is moving alternately, fast, then very slow. In that kind of chain of wetlands setting, the water is actually being cleaned in two different ways. So there are different processes that occur when it's flowing fast. For example, it picks up more oxygen, which is good for aquatic life. When it's flowing more slowly in the wetlands, it has more time for plants to take up maybe some excess of nutrients or other pollutants, metals that might be in the water. And so having both is really important.
Streams and rivers are kind of the arteries of the land. I mean, everything that falls onto the land ultimately ends up in a stream or river. When water hits an impervious surface, such as a parking lot, it's pretty much immediately transferred directly to the stream because it doesn't have time to infiltrate. And that'll bring in pollutants, fertilizers, oil and gas, all kinds of stuff that's not very healthy for our stream systems. There's lots of beautiful headwater streams that have black water. They're called black water streams, actually, and that's because they have tannins in the water that they're picking up from decaying wetland vegetation. And so even though the water is brown, it could be perfectly clean. And you could have clear water that actually has many hidden pollutants in it.
Streams resist change. They're really good. They're resilient systems. But like everything else, they have a tipping point. And it's hard to know what that is in advance. And by the time we figure it out, it's usually too late. It's easier to protect an existing valuable resource than it is to ruin the resource and then try to make it better. It's just flat out common sense.
Visit the Charlotte Harbor National Estuary Program website